The holiday season is upon us, and if your family is anything like mine, they're always looking for the perfect gift for you. And let's face it, if you don't tell them what you want, if you don't give them ideas, they're going to get you crap, right? That happens every single year. So let's put them in a position to win, right? Let's set them up for success, as we say in the restaurants. Let's give them ideas so they can get you things you actually want, things you'll actually use. Now, in this episode, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that you're probably a lot like me, right? You love your business. You're passionate about the industry. You're an entrepreneur. We're all entrepreneurs at heart, right? So stick around for some really great gift ideas for the entrepreneur in your family. Hey, that's you. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. There's an old saying that goes something like this. You'll only find three kinds of people in the world. Those who see, those who will never see, and those who can see when shown. This is Restaurant Strategy, a podcast with answers for anyone who's looking. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Chip Close, and this is Restaurant Strategy, a weekly podcast dedicated entirely to the hospitality industry. We cover marketing, operations, and just about everything in between. Each week, I leverage my 20-plus years in the industry to help you build a more profitable and a more sustainable business. I also work directly with operators all over the world through my group coaching programs to address and overcome the specific challenges we face in our industry. Curious to learn more? Set up a free 45-minute strategy session by visiting restaurantstrategypodcast.com/schedule. Let me show you how simple it can be to run a profitable restaurant. Again, that's restaurantstrategypodcast.com/schedule. As always, you will find that link in the show notes. Now, thousands of restaurants across the country use Kickfin to send instant cashless tip payouts directly to their employees' bank accounts the second their shift ends. It's a really simple solution to a really big problem because, let's face it, paying out cash tips to your workers day after day, shift after shift, is kind of a nightmare. Tedious tip distribution takes managers away from work that matters. It's hard to track payments, which leads to accounting and compliance headaches. Plus, cash tip outs create the perfect opportunity for theft, and there's never enough cash on hand to pay out tips, so managers are constantly making bank runs. Bottom line, there's never been a secure, efficient way to tip out until now. Meet Kickfin. Kickfin is an easy-to-use software that sends real-time, cashless tip payouts straight to your employees' bank accounts 24/7, 365 days a year. Tipping out with Kickfin gives managers and operators hours back in their day. It makes reporting a breeze and protects your business from mistakes and theft. And employees love it, so it's one of the best recruiting tools out there. Best of all, restaurants can have Kickfin up and running overnight, literally overnight. Employees can enroll in seconds, no hardware, no contracts, no setup fees. Get in touch today for a personalized demo and see how restaurants and bars across the country are tipping out with Kickfin. Visit kickfin.com/demo. Now, as I said during the opening, today is a gift buying guide or a gift giving guide, right? If you've got another operator, another entrepreneur in your life and you want some really great gift ideas, that's what today's episode is all about. Or if you yourself are looking for gift ideas, right? Everyone's asking you for a wish list. What do you want? What do you want for the holidays? Now you can give them some really good ideas. So over the course of this episode, I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas, a bunch of things that I've gotten over the years. We're going to start with some books and then we're going to branch out from there. Going to give you some other ideas. I start with books because I love books. I've got books all over my office, all over my house. I love reading about our industry. I love reading about the market, about the economy. I love learning more so I can constantly level up. So I can be really good with my business. So I can be really great for my clients because I have to be really good for them so that they can succeed at their businesses. This is something that I take great joy in doing. I'm always reading books. Sometimes multiple books at once. And so if you're like me, I'm gonna hope that you like to read, that you like to constantly level up. But if you don't, then don't worry. Stick around till the end because there's some other ideas. There are some other gift ideas if you hate to read. That's totally fine. But again, first 10 here, I'm going to give you my top 10 list, right? The top 10 books I think you should have. If you have never read these, they are worth reading. They're gonna bring you a lot of business. They're gonna help you level up in your business, right? So here we go. The top 10 books. Some of these I've recommended in the past. Many of these are brand new because they're books that I've read recently. But these are the top 10. When people ask me for my top 10, when they ask me, hey, what book should I read? This is the ones I go to. I got a pile right over here. We're going to go to it. We're going to start off number 1. The number 1 book I love to recommend, is Purple Cow by Seth Godin. I love to recommend this because it is mercifully short. It is very, very important, and it so clearly distills down everything I believe great marketing is. Purple Cow by Seth Godin. If you've never read it, you should read it. I recommend it to all my clients the second they start with me. Everybody in my coaching program pretty much reads this before we go too far down the road. So, number 1 on the list, Seth Godin's Purple Cow. Number 2. I'm going to trust that many of you have read this one. Danny Meyer's book, Setting the Table. This is half memoir, half management book. It really distills down, he so clearly articulates what he believes great management to be, great leadership, right? Really understanding vision. In it, you're going to hear a lot about the salt shaker theory, constant gentle pressure, his idea of enlightened hospitality, and on and on and on. Plus, the war stories he shares from opening some of the most prized restaurants in New York City, some of the most successful and popular restaurants, certainly in New York City. So, Setting the Table by Danny Meyer. If you've never read it, you have to read it. Number 3 on the list, right here. Anybody who knows me knows that I recommend this quite a bit as well. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek did a TED Talk by the same name. This idea of how all businesses, most businesses, start from the outside and work in. He talks about something called the golden circle, right? Where he talks about the what, the how, and the why. The most companies start from the outside, this outer circle that's the what they do. And they work into that next ring in, which is how they're different or how they're better than the competition. But he said most businesses, in this case, we can apply this to restaurants. Most restaurants never get to the why. They never understand why they exist, why they do what they do, and why that should matter. And he turns it all on its heels. He gives all kinds of really great case studies that helps illustrate his point. Start with why. I don't know how we can do anything in our industry without understanding the why behind what we do. So if you haven't read it, you have to read it. Next one on the list, number 4. I just finished reading this with my coaching group, the mastermind I run. It's by Daniel Pink. It's a book called Drive. Drive is all about human motivation, right? And he sort of turns it on its heels. And he says, hey, for thousands of years, we've sort of used one of 2 ideas to help motivate the people who work for us. Basically, how do you get people to do what you want them to do, or people to do what you need them to do? And he said, for thousands of years, we've either used the carrot or the stick. Right? We dangle a carrot and we entice them. If you do this, then you will get this reward. And on the backside, literally sometimes, we threaten punishment, right? The stick. Say, if you don't do this, then this will happen to you. You will get suspended. You will lose your job, et cetera, right? Start with Why sort of turns all that around and gives you a new way of framing it. And he talks about all kinds of other really interesting things. For example, if humans were only motivated by the carrot or the stick, then why do we do puzzles? Why do we play video games? Why do we play sports when there's no earthly chance of us, winning a World Cup or winning the marathon or building a career as a professional athlete? Why do we play sports? For the challenge of it, for the fun of it, and on and on. He digs into that and goes even deeper. If you haven't read this book, especially apropos as we've gone through this last year or two, how hard it's been to find people, keep people, and grow our employee base. Drive is really all about human motivation. Like I said, he turns it on its heels and lets you think about it in a whole new way. I love to recommend this book as well. Now, number 5, I recently read this. I know I'm late to the party. but James Clear, Atomic Habits. Man, there's so much great stuff in here. The idea is about how you make the biggest changes in your life is through taking tiny steps, right? Fixing tiny things that all stack up to big things. That's what he calls Atomic Habits. And he talks about how you make it easy, right? And on and on and on. This is so much of what I believe coaching to be. This is the philosophy that I really adopt, and I couldn't articulate it nearly as well as he did until I read his book, but that's what I believe coaching to be when I work with all my clients, right? We fix one thing and then another thing and then another thing. We set a very attainable goal. We hit it. We move on. We hit it. We move on. We set new goals, hit those goals. And by the time we've hit a couple of goals, we actually realize we've come quite a far distance. We've come further than had we just set some really big, ambitious goal. Atomic Habits helps us be better people, helps us be better business people as well. If you haven't read it, please, you must read this, right? So that's it. Those are the top 5. Number 6, I have for sure talked about this in the past. It's worth mentioning again. Building a Story Brand. It's by Donald Miller. He basically takes Joseph Campbell's idea of the hero's journey and applies that to us business owners and said, hey, we have to stop thinking of ourselves as Luke Skywalker, as the hero of the story. We're not. We have to think of ourselves as Yoda, and our customer is Luke. Our job is to shepherd them, to guide them, to teach them, to provide the solution to the problem they have, right? Luke had a problem. Yoda was the only one who could unlock that for him. We are all Yodas. He makes so many great points in this, both strategic and tactical, both high level and very, very granular. I love this book. I've read this book more than once, and I recommend this quite a bit. Now, the next one is another new one. I read this in the pandemic. It was written and published in the pandemic. It's by Scott Galloway. It's a book called Post-Corona. It's his follow-up to a book he wrote several years back called The Four. It's a book about 4 huge companies: Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Apple. And this is all about the pandemic, the COVID-19 crisis, and everything afterwards. Talks about how these huge companies are shifting and how the economy is shifting. Anyone who owns a business, runs a business, and is now operating in this new normal has to read this, right? He talks all about the opportunities available in every crisis. We all have them. We know they exist. It's just really refreshing to read it from a really smart, sober-minded guy. Again, the book is called Post-Corona. You can find these books anywhere. I will say, if I haven't said it yet, these links are all going to be in the show notes. If you want to go grab them, you don't want to be bothered Googling them, that's fine. If you want to go to your local bookstore, you can certainly do that, but I will include all of the links probably to Amazon to find them. Next book, number 8, Delivering the Digital Restaurant. Carl and Meredith, the 2 authors, I had them on the show. They were guests of mine. They wrote this book. It is super important. The ideas in it are both timeless and timely. I can't speak enough about this book. When I first picked up this book, I thought I was going to hate it. I thought it was going to be very dated very quickly because we're talking about technology and this whole sort of delivery revolution. I was totally wrong. There are things that are very prescient, very in the moment, but there's tons of other things where you can see they're really predicting the future and seeing where we're going with all of this and using really compelling case studies. They've interviewed a ton of really smart people. They really did their diligence on this book. It is well worth the read. Again, this is another one I read with all my coaching clients as part of the Mastermind program. Delivering the Digital Restaurant. It is outstanding. Number 9, if you are in business, you write for a living, whether it's to convince people to invest with you, convincing people to come work for you, or convincing guests to be a part of what you do. You are a writer. Writing is a really important tool in our toolkit. So I'm going to recommend this book, Everybody Writes. It's by Ann Handley. It is a Bible of sorts for how to write well, how to write really compelling, persuasive copy. That's what we are. We are all writers in one way or another. We write content, whether we like it or not, whether that's a blog post or an article or a podcast or a menu or a website or a press release or just an email, whether it's going to your 20 employees or to your 2,000 subscribers or to your 100,000 subscribers. We are all content writers. We have to be very good at writing. This is a Wall Street Journal bestseller. She is the real deal. I love this book, and I love to recommend this book. That's why it's going on the list. If you want something sort of non-traditional, do that. It is great. And then finally, the last book on the list here is The Psychology of Money. This is another one that I recently read. It was recommended to me. It comes very highly recommended. It's basically a series of essays all about money. Now, I'm fascinated by money. I'm fascinated by personal finance. Why should you care about this? Maybe you don't care about personal finance. It is all about people's relationship, our relationship, human beings' relationships to money, which we should be particularly interested in because we are asking people to part with their money night after night after night after night in our establishments. And I think we have to understand, right? It's a psychology book, it's a sociology book, it's an economics book, but we have to understand people's relationships with money in order to persuade them, convince them, make a compelling argument for why they should give their money to us, spend their money in our direction. This is an exceptional book. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did, but I did love it. It is well worth your time. Again, those are my top 10, right? If you're looking for book ideas to give people, some of them are very obvious. Some of them I think are non-traditional. Hopefully I've pointed you in the direction of a couple books that you may not have heard of or may not have thought to pick up. All the links are going to be in the show notes, but that's a great place to start. Those, I think, are really great books that should be on every entrepreneur's nightstand. So there you go. Now, we're going to do the rest of the list. We're done with the books. I promise we're done with the books. We're going to have a bunch of really cool other gift ideas in just a couple of minutes after a word from another one of our sponsors. Now, POPMENU has reimagined the restaurant. They're breaking the mold of the menu, taking the kitchen doors off the hinges, and serving up their most comprehensive technology solution yet. It's called POPMENU Max. It comes with the previous ingredients that you've heard me mention on the podcast, websites designed with SEO, marketing tools to keep you top of mind with guests, and of course, the patented interactive menu technology. But this new recipe brings automated phone answering, third-party online order aggregation, waitlisting, and more to the table. POPMENU's phone answering technology has your ringing phones covered. With artificial intelligence, the simple questions that keep your phone line tied up can now be handled without pulling a staff member from your in-person hospitality. No more missed reservations, asking for your hours, or missed revenue, and that's just the beginning. You have a passion for food, POPMENU has a passion for technology. Together, it's a recipe for restaurant success. Now, even more digital ingredients are in their technology pantry, and POPMENU is helping restaurants attract, engage, remarket, and transact with their guests on a whole new level. Trust me, if you're a restaurant owner, you need POPMENU to take your business to the next level. For a limited time only, get $100 off your first month, plus you lock in one unchanging monthly rate. Go to popmenu.com/restaurant strategy to claim this offer. That's $100 off your first month at popmenu.com/restaurant strategy. As always, that link is also in the show notes. Okay. Now we're gonna round home here. We're gonna round third. Come on home, bring it home. Talking about the gift giving guide. I gave you my 10 book ideas. It's pretty much a top 10 of books that I think every restaurant owner, every business owner, every entrepreneur should read. If you haven't read any of them, please give them to your family and friends. Tell them those are the books you want to read. But I told you, for those of you out there who hate to read, I got something for you. Right? If you hate to read, I get it. I feel you. I'm going to make two recommendations for you. Here's two really great gift ideas. An Audible membership, right? So Amazon Audible, all these audiobooks available to you. You get an Audible membership. You get a couple of books every month you can download for free, and then somebody just reads it to you while you're driving to and from the restaurant, while you're doing the numbers, doing payroll, chopping vegetables in the morning, doing your prep, whatever it is you're doing throughout your day. Throw some headphones on and just listen to a book on tape. It's a great way of binging all of the books I just recommended, but digesting them in an easy manner. It's certainly easier than finding half an hour or an hour a day to actually read them. And I get it. You're busy. You don't have time. So here's an idea. An Audible membership is a great great, great gift. To that end, if you like reading, but you don't have that much time to read, there is a company, there's a website called Blinkist. Blinkist. I'm going to share the link in there. They also have a membership. It's really cool. What they do is they take a lot of business books, a lot of nonfiction books, and they give you cliff notes on them. So you get the most salient points in all those books. You get some of the arguments, some of the case studies, without all the filler. Now, if you've got time to read the full book, I absolutely recommend that you read the full book. But if you don't have time and you want to take me up on my suggestion of reading these books, but you don't have time to read these books, totally fine. Get a Blinkist membership. It's Blinkist.com. I'm going to include the link in the show notes. It's a great way of digesting, consuming a bunch of content without having to read 2, 3, 4, 500-page book. You read it in 30 pages, 40 pages. It's a great easy way to do it. I recommend it to the people in my coaching program. We sort of read books ongoing, that runs sort of like parallel with the group. And I tell people, if you don't have the time, get an Audible membership, get the audiobook. If you don't have time to do that, you're not interested in that, you still want to read, get a Blinkist membership. That's the other sort of non-traditional one. I always talk about movies, right? So every so often, I like watching movies. Certainly, there are plenty of great documentaries out there on the food industry. My absolute favorite used to be on Netflix. It's no longer on Netflix, which is why I'm including this on this list, because you need to go rent it or buy it. You can buy the DVD, you can buy the Blu-ray, or you can buy the digital download, I think on Amazon or on Apple, right, on iTunes. It's a documentary called Spinning Plates. It's absolutely exceptional. It follows 3 storylines. The centerpiece of the film, it follows Grant Achatz and his story. He's the chef out at Alinea restaurant in Chicago. It follows his trajectory and 2 other storylines, right? Husband and wife who run just a small Mexican restaurant. I think it's in Santa Fe. And then in Iowa, there's a family-run restaurant in Iowa. It's the oldest, I think it's one of the oldest consistently running restaurants in Iowa. Their story, you don't realize, is so compelling. And the way the filmmaker weaves all 3 of those narratives actually together is outstanding. It's such a moving film. If you want a really great idea for a movie to buy, you can buy the actual hard disc, or you can get the digital download. It's a documentary called Spinning Plates. I'm going to include that link in the show notes as well. I always love wearing gear for my podcast, for Restaurant Strategy. I'm really proud of that brand. So I have hats made. I've got shirts made. I've got, zippies and sort of quarter zips and jackets and stuff like that. I've got mugs. I like having stuff that celebrates my brand, the brand I built. And I'm going to guess if you are like me, you love your place. You want to celebrate your place. So why not ask somebody to get you a gift card to a site like Zazzle, Zazzle, Zazzle.com. It's a place you can go get merch made. I get a bunch of merch made there, really from me. Sometimes I do it to give to some of my coaching clients. To when I run contests, I give, I get totes made, mugs, keychains, shirts, things like that, and I give those away. So maybe you want to get stuff made for your business so you can give out, but maybe you just want to get something made for yourself and you don't want to have to run off, 100 t-shirts or 1,000 hats to get a hat. So go get a hat made with your logo so you can wear it all around town. Zazzle.com, ask for a gift card, and you can go make stuff. You can go make bags and shirts and sweatshirts, totes, hats, keychains, magnets, all that stuff. Go celebrate you. Celebrate the brand you built. I love this gift. It's a non-traditional gift that will pay dividends down the line. And really, it's a celebration of you and everything you've built. I got this portable Bluetooth speaker. I absolutely love it. I've seen a bunch. I've had a bunch die on me over the years, and I now have my absolute favorite. I'm going to link to that. It's on Amazon. It's like super cheap. It's like under $50. It's outstanding, especially in the restaurant where you don't necessarily have a plug to plug it in. This thing runs on batteries and plugged. You can charge it up, and so you take it out to the kitchen while you're doing prep work. You can take it back to the office when you're doing inventory or payroll or doing your schedules. You can blast it if it's it's late at night and you're just trying to finish up and you just want to sort of tune everything out, you can do it low if you got other people in the kitchen and you don't want to disrupt people. It's a really, really great way to sort of, fill your kitchen, fill your office with music. I love it. It's great. I cannot work without it. I make breakfast. I listen to stuff. I listen to my podcasts. I listen to books on tape while I'm making breakfast in the morning, stuff like that, or when I'm doing sort of like tasks, when I'm editing photos and stuff like that. I love to do that. So I'm going to include my very favorite Bluetooth speaker. The last one, hey, it's a shameless plug for a product that I'm really proud of. It's an online course that I helped develop. I wrote it myself, filmed it myself. It's available on my website. It's called Restaurant Recharge. It is an 8-week turnaround. It's a 2-month turnaround, right? An 8-week program. It's self-guided, but the point of it, it's meant to turn your restaurant around through 44 lessons, along with a workbook where you do assignments that helps you apply the lesson directly to your business. So you print out that workbook, you put it in a binder. By the end of the 8 weeks, you end up having like a Bible for your business, and it ends up being a really great starting place to help you educate and empower your team, to help you feel more confident about your ability to lead, to manage, to build budgets, vision, to make projections, all of that. How do you run a profitable business? I built that course as an answer to that. If you're looking for a really special gift, something that will really, really help your business in the new year, Restaurant Recharge, it's my online course. I love to recommend it. We've now put, I think, close to 100 people through the program. It absolutely works. I'm going to include that link in the show notes, so sit tight. That's it. That is my holiday gift guide 2022 style, and I hope you get some value out of some of this. Again, I came at this from the place, the assumption that you like to level up, that you're passionate about your industry and the work that you do and about your restaurant. I feel the exact same way. So level up this holiday season. Get yourself a bunch of books you can put on your bookshelf. That's it for today. Listen, I appreciate you guys being here as I always do. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.